General Dax stood at the command bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Victory, his four eyes fixed on the blue-green planet floating in the holographic display. His scaled fingers tapped impatiently on the metal railing as he studied what should have been an easy target. Earth, just another primitive world to add to the Galactic Alliance's growing collection. At least, that's what it was supposed to be. "Show me the readings again," he ordered, his secondary heart beating faster with growing unease. The bridge officer quickly projected the planetary data in front of him. What he saw made no sense. The planet experienced temperature swings that would kill most sentient species. From scorching deserts to freezing poles, the temperature difference was more than 150 degrees. The gravity was crushing by galactic standards. The atmosphere was thick with oxygen, a highly reactive and dangerous gas, and the local star bombarded the surface with radiation levels that should make advanced life impossible. Yet somehow, humans not only survived but thrived. "Play the observation footage," Dax commanded. The holographic display shifted to show scenes from their stealth drones. He watched as humans jogged for pleasure under the burning sun. They swam in waters that would freeze most species solid. They lived in places where the air was so thin it would suffocate any reasonable being. They ate foods that would be toxic to nearly every known species in the galaxy. "Impossible," he muttered, watching a human child fall, scrape its knee, and heal within days. By galactic standards, their regenerative abilities were nothing short of miraculous. His first officer, Captain Vex, approached with another disturbing report. "Sir, you need to see this. The humans, they're splitting atoms for power." "What?" Dax grabbed the report. "That's insane. No species would be foolish enough to harness such dangerous reactions, the radiation alone. They seem immune to radiation levels that would kill our species," Vex said quietly. "And that's not all. They're already reaching for the stars. They're primitive rockets." "Rockets?" Dax laughed. "They don't even have proper gravity drives." "No, sir, but—" Vex hesitated. "They're launching these chemical explosions with living beings inside. The humans voluntarily strap themselves to bombs to explore space." Dax's scales paled slightly. What kind of species would do that? The more he learned about humans, the more they terrified him. The bridge fell silent as they watched more footage. Humans diving into burning buildings to save others. Humans running toward danger instead of away from it. Humans surviving injuries that would have killed any civilized being. "Sir," a junior officer called out, "we've intercepted their entertainment broadcasts. You should see this." The display showed humans telling stories. Stories about fighting giants, slaying dragons, building impossible things. But most disturbing were their stories about alien invasions. In nearly every one, the humans won. They didn't just survive. They triumphed against technologically superior forces. "They're preparing their people for us," Dax realized. "Even without knowing we exist, they're preparing for war." He watched a human child playing with a small predator animal. Dogs, they call them. Somehow, these beings had taken wild killers and turned them into companions. They did the same with other species, forming bonds with creatures that should have been their enemies. "Begin the invasion preparations," Dax ordered finally, "but double the standard force. No, triple it." "Sir?" Vex looked concerned. "For a pre-FTL civilization. Look at them," Dax gestured to the display. "They live on a death world, treat radiation like a minor inconvenience, and dream about defeating advanced aliens. We cannot underestimate them." As he watched the blue planet spin in the display, Dax felt something he hadn't experienced in his 300 years of military service. Doubt. But surely, he thought, even these strange humans couldn't stand against the full might of the Galactic Alliance. He was about to learn just how wrong he was. General Dax smiled as the first wave of ships entered Earth's atmosphere. His massive fleet darkened the skies above every major city on the planet. This was how conquest should look, overwhelming force right from the start. Begin Phase 1, he ordered. Target their military bases and government centers. The Eternal Victory's weapons officer pressed the firing controls. Streams of plasma rained down from the sky, each blast powerful enough to vaporize a small mountain. The humans' primitive radar systems couldn't even detect their ships properly. This would be over quickly. Or so he thought. "Sir," Captain Vex's voice carried a note of panic. "The humans, they're adapting." Dax watched in disbelief as the humans' primitive projectile weapons began hitting their ships. Somehow, in the middle of the attack, they had figured out the frequency of the Alliance's shield technology. They were modifying their simple metal bullets to pass right through the energy barriers. "Impossible," Dax muttered. "They can't be learning that fast." But they were. A report flashed across his screen. Humans had already captured a downed fighter craft. Within hours, they had not only figured out how to open it, but had started reverse engineering the technology. "Sir, we're losing ships in Sector 7. Another officer shouted. "The humans, they're using our own weapons against us." Dax's scales bristled as he watched the footage. A group of human soldiers had not only figured out how to operate an Alliance plasma rifle, but had already improved its design. They had attached their primitive scopes to it and were hitting targets at ranges the weapons were never designed to reach. "Launch the ground forces," Dax ordered. "Take their cities street by street if we have to." That was another mistake. The Alliance troops, used to fighting in open space and clean corridors, found themselves in a nightmare of urban warfare. Humans knew every alley, every building, every drain pipe. They set traps using their simple but effective technology combined with stolen Alliance gear. "General," Vex called out, "you need to see this." The display showed a human research facility. In just 2 days, they had taken apart a damaged Alliance ship engine and were already building their own version. But they hadn't just copied it. They had made it better. They had found ways to increase its efficiency by 30%. How? Dax slammed his fist on the railing. How are they learning so quickly? The answer came from an unexpected source. The Alliance's cultural research team had been studying human information networks. They discovered something terrifying. Humans shared everything. When one human learned something, they immediately told others. Their internet spread knowledge at an incredible speed. "Sir, we've lost contact with Ground Force Alpha," an officer reported. "The humans have developed some kind of electromagnetic pulse weapon using our own power cells." Dax watched as more reports flooded in. Humans weren't just fighting back. They were innovating at an impossible rate. They took Alliance technology, understood it, improved it, and weaponized it faster than any species in galactic history. A video feed showed a human mechanic explaining to others how to convert an Alliance shield generator into a weapon. He was smiling as he worked, actually enjoying the challenge. Another showed human scientists gleefully taking apart alien technology, their eyes bright with excitement rather than fear. "Fall back," Dax ordered suddenly. "All ships, pull back to high orbit." "Sir?" Vex looked confused. "We still have superior numbers and technology." "For now," Dax said grimly. "But at the rate they're learning." He gestured to another report showing humans had already started mass-producing their own version of Alliance energy weapons. "We need a new strategy." As his ships retreated to a safe distance, Dax realized that technology alone wouldn't win this war. They needed something else, something humans couldn't adapt to so easily. "Prepare the biological weapons," he ordered. "Let's see how they handle something they can't take apart and rebuild." He would soon learn that this, too, was a terrible mistake. General Dax watched with satisfaction as the biological weapons were released into Earth's atmosphere. The deadly mix of engineered viruses and bacteria had wiped out entire civilizations before. Even if humans were tough, their bodies couldn't possibly handle these alien diseases. "Release complete," Captain Vex reported. "The pathogens are spreading across all continents." Dax's satisfaction lasted exactly 6 hours. "Sir." A medical officer burst onto the bridge, his scales pale with fear. The humans, they're not dying. The general rushed to the observation screens. Instead of mass panic and death, he saw something impossible. The humans were getting sick, yes, but they were recovering. Their immune systems were adapting to fight the alien diseases at an alarming rate. "Show me the medical scans," Dax demanded. What he saw terrified him. Human bodies were not just fighting off the diseases, they were learning from them. Their immune systems were incorporating the alien pathogens' characteristics into their own defenses. "General," a science officer called out, "you need to see this. The humans are weaponizing their own diseases against us." The screen showed footage from their ground forces. Alliance soldiers were falling sick with something called the common cold, a simple human virus that their bodies had no defense against. What was a minor inconvenience to humans was devastating to alien biology. "Pull up the casualty reports," Dax ordered, his voice shaking. The numbers were staggering. More Alliance troops were being taken down by human diseases than by their weapons. Flu, chickenpox, even the bacteria in human mouths were proving deadly to alien forces. "Sir," Vex reported, "we've lost contact with the 3rd Division. They tried to capture a human hospital." The footage from the hospital was nightmare fuel. The alien soldiers had been exposed to dozens of human diseases at once. Their immune systems, used to sterile environments, had no chance. Meanwhile, human doctors and patients fought back while carrying diseases that could kill an alien with a single sneeze. "They're walking biological weapons," a medical officer whispered. "Every human is a potential plague carrier to us." But it got worse. Much worse. "General," a scientist rushed in with new data. "The humans have started studying our biological weapons. They're improving them." Dax watched in horror as human scientists, protected by their incredibly adaptive immune systems, worked with the Alliance's engineered pathogens. They weren't just studying them. They were combining them with Earth diseases to create new strains. "Look at this," the scientist continued, showing footage from a human lab. "They figured out how to target our biology specifically. They're using our own weapons as a template to design new ones." A report flashed across the screen. Human children recovering from the Alliance's deadliest virus and developing immunity within days. Their young immune systems were even more adaptable than the adults. "Sir," Vex said quietly, "there's something else. The humans, they're not angry about the biological attack. They're excited. Their scientists are calling it a revolutionary breakthrough in medical science. They're using our weapons to advance their medical technology." Dax felt his scales crawl. The humans had taken the Alliance's attempt to destroy them and turned it into a learning opportunity. They were developing new medicines, new treatments, new ways to fight disease. "General," the medical officer spoke again, "we've detected something disturbing. The humans are developing vaccines. For us. They're planning to protect other species from their diseases." Dax stared at the screen showing human doctors working to help alien biology. Even after the Alliance had tried to wipe them out with plagues, humans were trying to prevent their diseases from harming other species. "Cease all biological warfare," Dax ordered, "and get me the combat division. If diseases won't work, we'll have to face them the old-fashioned way." He didn't know it yet, but hand-to-hand combat would prove to be an even bigger mistake. General Dax stood in his command center, watching the live feeds from Earth with growing horror. He had sent his best combat units, elite warriors trained in 16 forms of martial arts, armed with powered armor and neural enhancers. They were supposed to be unstoppable. Instead, they were getting thrown around like toys. "Play that footage again," he ordered, pointing to a particular screen. The scene showed an Alliance soldier in full combat armor facing off against an elderly human female outside something called a supermarket. The human was holding a shopping bag in one hand and her wheeled walking aid in the other. The soldier charged. What happened next made Dax's scales stand on end. The elderly human swung her shopping bag, catching the soldier in the head with enough force to dent his helmet. Then she used her walker as a weapon, displaying strength that should have been impossible for her age and size. How? Dax whispered. She's not even wearing powered armor. Sir, Captain Vex reported. We've figured it out. It's their home world. Earth's gravity is 1.3 times stronger than our standard. They've evolved in high gravity conditions. Another screen showed a human child playing in something called a playground. The child was casually hanging from a metal bar with one arm, a feat that would require significant effort from most alien species, even in powered armor. Report from Squad 7. An officer called out. They tried to subdue a human gathering at a place called a gym. It didn't go well. The footage made Dax wince. The humans there had been lifting weights for recreation that matched the maximum output of Alliance-powered armor. When the soldiers attacked, the humans simply picked them up and used the alien troops as improvised exercise equipment. Sir, look at this. Vex pointed to another screen. A human was running something called a marathon, voluntarily running 42 kilometers for fun. Their endurance is off the charts. Our troops can't wear them down. The reports kept coming in. Human bones were denser than standard. Their muscles had evolved for both power and precision. They could take hits that would shatter alien bones and keep fighting. General, a science officer interrupted. We've analyzed their physical capabilities. An average human can crush our soldiers' bones with their bare hands. Their leg muscles can generate enough force to kick through our standard armor. Dax watched more combat footage. A human police officer had disarmed 3 Alliance soldiers using something called judo. A human farmer had lifted the front of a crashed alien scout ship to free a trapped crew member, and then helped them to safety despite being in the middle of a war. Show me the construction site footage, Dax ordered. The screen displayed what had become known as the Brick Incident. Alliance troops had cornered a human construction worker. The human had picked up something called a concrete block and thrown it with enough force to punch through an Alliance tank's armor. Sir, Vex said quietly, there's more. The humans, they're training themselves to be even stronger. The display showed human military units adapting their training to account for alien physiology. They were learning exactly how much force it took to disable Alliance equipment, how to use their superior strength most effectively against alien weak points. How are they so casual about it? Dax wondered aloud, watching humans demonstrate combat techniques to each other. They were smiling, joking, treating the whole thing like a new sport to master. A new alert flashed across the screen. A group of human children had accidentally discovered they could outrun Alliance pursuit vehicles in something called a game of tag. They had turned it into a competition, seeing who could evade alien patrols the longest. Fall back, Dax ordered. All ground forces, retreat immediately. Sir, Vex questioned. We still have superior numbers. Numbers mean nothing, Dax replied, watching an unarmed human martial arts instructor dismantle an entire squad of his best troops. We need a new approach. Prepare for psychological warfare. As he turned away from the screens, he didn't notice one final report. Humans had started organizing something called self-defense classes to teach others how to fight aliens effectively. The general would soon learn that human minds were even more formidable than their bodies. General Dax felt confident about his new strategy. If humans couldn't be beaten physically, surely their minds could be broken. The Alliance had perfected psychological warfare over thousands of years. No species had ever withstood their mental attacks. Begin the fear protocol, he ordered. Show them how small they are in the universe. The Alliance ships projected massive holograms across Earth's skies, showing the destruction of entire planets. They broadcast images of their vast fleets and countless conquered worlds. This had broken the spirit of many civilizations before. The humans threw a party. Sir, Captain Vex reported, looking confused. They're calling it a sky show. They're having outdoor gatherings to watch our threat displays. Some of them are selling snacks. Dax stared at the screens in disbelief. Humans were sitting on blankets, eating something called popcorn, and critiquing the special effects of their doomsday threats. "Launch the nightmare sequence," he ordered desperately. The Alliance's best psychics projected terrifying visions into human minds, images of their worst fears, their darkest nightmares. It was time-tested psychological torture. "Sir," an officer called out, "the humans are writing stories about it." "What?" "They're sharing their nightmare visions online. They're calling it inspiration and turning them into something called horror movies. They're enjoying being scared." Dax watched in confusion as humans transformed their worst fears into entertainment. They were adapting to psychological warfare by turning it into art. "Try the isolation protocol," he commanded. "Cut off their communications, make them feel alone." But humans had prepared for this too. They had backup systems, old technology called radio. And when that failed, they used flags, lights, and even something called Morse code. They refused to be isolated. "General," Vex reported, "you need to see this. The humans are bonding with our technology." The screens showed humans treating Alliance robots like pets. They had given names to captured alien vehicles. A maintenance worker was talking soothingly to a damaged alien computer while fixing it. And somehow, the computer was responding better to their repairs. "They're forming emotional connections with machines," a scientist explained. "They anthropomorphize everything. They see faces in clouds, treat their vehicles like friends, and talk to plants. Their brains are wired to find connections everywhere." More reports flooded in. Humans were displaying both terrifying violence and incredible kindness, often at the same time. They would fight fiercely to protect others, even aliens who had tried to kill them moments before. "Sir, look at this." Vex pointed to a screen showing the human rescue team. They were risking their lives to save trapped Alliance soldiers from a collapsed building. The same humans who had collapsed the building in the first place were now working to save their enemies. "I don't understand," Dax muttered. "How can they be so contradictory?" The answer came from an Alliance psychologist. Their minds are adaptable because they're full of contradictions. They can hold opposing thoughts simultaneously. They can hate us for invading and still help our wounded. They can be terrified of us and still make jokes about it. A new report appeared. Humans were teaching their children about the invasion through something called games. They were turning their trauma into learning experiences, their fears into strengths. "They're processing everything so fast," the psychologist continued. "They're not just adapting to psychological warfare, they're using it to become stronger. Every attack on their psyche becomes a tool for growth." Dax watched as humans turned their mental scars into armor. They shared their experiences, supported each other, and somehow grew more resilient with each attack. "Stop all psychological operations," he ordered finally. "We're only making them stronger." He turned to his command staff, his scales pale with worry. "We've tried technology, biology, physical combat, and psychological warfare. Nothing works. These humans, they're too adaptable." What happened next would push the general to his breaking point. General Dax sat in the main strategy room of the Eternal Victory, surrounded by his top commanders. The holographic displays showed the latest reports from Earth, and each one made his scales crawl with growing horror. "Let me understand this correctly," he said slowly, his voice trembling. "The humans have not only copied our technology, but improved it." "Yes, sir," a nervous engineer replied. "They've increased the efficiency of our FTL drives by 45%. They're calling it a simple upgrade." Dax's secondary heart began beating erratically. Simple. They said something about the design being obvious once they understood the basics, the engineer continued. "They're already building their own versions. Better versions." Another officer stepped forward with more reports. "Sir, they've modified our shield technology. They found a way to make the shields generate power while deflecting attacks. They're calling it basic energy conservation." Dax's eye twitched. Basic. Their most advanced technology, developed over thousands of years, was being treated like a child's puzzle by these primitives. "Show me the weapons report," he demanded, dreading what he would see. The holographic display shifted to show human scientists casually taking apart Alliance plasma rifles. They were talking and joking while they worked, treating highly dangerous weapons like interesting toys. "They've improved the targeting systems," Captain Vex reported. "Added something they call safety features because they thought our design was unnecessarily dangerous to the user." Unnecessarily dangerous. Dax's voice rose to a screech. "Those are weapons. They're supposed to be dangerous." "Sir," another officer interrupted, "there's more. They've started mass-producing their improved versions. They're sharing the designs freely among themselves." That was what finally broke him. "They're cking Overpowered." Dax screamed, throwing his datapad across the room. "It's not fair. Do you understand what's happening? They're treating our most advanced technology like it's primitive. They're obeying it, like it's some sort of game." The command room fell silent as their general continued his rant. "We attack them with biological weapons. They turn them into medical breakthroughs. We try psychological warfare. They make entertainment out of it. We use advanced technology. They treat it like a fun puzzle to solve." He pointed frantically at various screens showing humans at work. "Look at them. They're enjoying this. They're having fun. This is supposed to be a war, and they're treating it like some kind of exciting challenge." A new report flashed across the screen. Humans had just developed a more efficient version of Alliance artificial gravity technology. They had solved a problem that had stumped alien scientists for centuries, and they did it over something they called a coffee break. Dax collapsed into his command chair, his scales completely pale. "Sir," Vex approached cautiously, "should we prepare another attack?" "What's the point?" Dax laughed hysterically. "They'll just turn it into another opportunity to learn and improve. They're like some kind of species of super-powered engineer warrior scientists who think everything is a fun puzzle to solve." The room watched in awkward silence as their general continued to break down. "They live on a death world, treat radiation like a minor inconvenience, improve technology that took us millennia to develop, and they do it all while making jokies." He pointed at a screen showing human children playing with a captured Alliance reconnaissance drone they had reprogrammed to play something called tag. "Look at that. Even their children are too powerful. This isn't warfare anymore. It's just embarrassing." Dax's famous rant was being recorded by several officers, and soon the phrase "humans are king overpowered" would spread throughout the Alliance fleet like wildfire. As he sat there, watching humans casually revolutionize centuries of Alliance technology, while treating it all like an entertaining challenge, Dax made a decision that would change galactic history. "Send a communication to Earth," he ordered quietly. Tell them we want to talk." The time had come to try something completely different. 6 months after his famous breakdown, General Dax stood before the Galactic Council. He looked different now, calmer, almost relaxed. Behind him, a human engineer was casually fixing the council chamber's ancient climate control system, humming while she worked. "Honored council members," Dax began, "I'm here to propose something unprecedented. Full alliance with Earth." Murmurs filled the chamber. A council member stood up. "You went to conquer them, and now you want to ally with them. Explain yourself, General." "Watch this," Dax said, activating the central display. It showed humans teaching alien species how to improve their technology. More importantly, it showed them doing it for free, simply because they enjoyed helping. "We've been looking at humans all wrong," Dax explained. "We saw their power as a threat, but look at what they do with it." The display shifted to show multiple scenes: human doctors treating alien diseases, engineers improving other species ships, scientists freely sharing their discoveries with anyone who asked. "In the 3 months since we made peace," Dax continued. Humans have solved 47 technological problems that stumped us for centuries. But here's the important part. They're not keeping these solutions to themselves. Another council member interrupted. But they're too powerful. Their abilities are beyond normal. Yes, Dax smiled. They are. But that's not a bad thing anymore. Let me show you something. He played a recording from a human space station. An alien ship had suffered a critical failure. Without hesitation, human engineers rushed to help, risking their lives to save the alien crew. They not only fixed the ship but improved it, then taught the alien crew how to maintain the improvements. Humans aren't overpowered, Dax said softly. They're survivors who evolved on a world that forced them to become extraordinary. And now they want to help others become extraordinary too. The display showed more scenes. Humans teaching alien children how to protect themselves, sharing their medical knowledge with other worlds, helping other species adapt their technology to be more efficient and safer. Look at this, Dax pointed to a new image. This is a human school. They're already teaching their children about different alien species, not as enemies, but as future friends to understand and help. The council watched as human children learned about alien biology, cultures, and technologies with endless curiosity and excitement. They've even started something called the Galactic Exchange Program, Dax continued. They're inviting other species to Earth to learn from each other. Yes, their world is dangerous to us, but they're working on ways to protect visitors. A new scene showed humans building special habitats for alien visitors, carefully designed to make other species comfortable on their death world. They're not just powerful, Dax explained. They're endlessly creative, adaptable, and most importantly, they want to help. Every problem is just a puzzle to solve. Every difference, a chance to learn. He straightened up, his voice becoming formal. I request that Earth be made a central member of the Galactic Alliance, not as a conquered world, but as a full partner. Their strength isn't a threat. It's a gift they want to share. The council chamber was silent for a moment. Then the human engineer fixing the climate system spoke up. Hey,